Welcome back to another episode of Talking Domination. Here are your hosts, the two worst coaches in the league. Take it away, boys. Talking Domination. Domination.
I like a new song.
That's my song. That's my song.
It's a quality song.
Yeah, it's a quality song. Talking Domination.
And welcome to you, Bart.
I don't know about this two worst business.
Oh, why? Because you got Stu below you. This week is a celebration of Stu, and we will not be besmirching his name. It's all about Stu this week.
Is it?
Yeah. Positive things to say about Stu. I know you made the PowerPoint this week, and I appreciate that. But I've got lots of positive things to say about Stu this week. It's gone well for him.
Oh, I might have to revisit some of the slides. Hang on, let me just edit slides 5 through 57.
Okay.
No, it's all good. Hi, good evening. Good evening to the members of the league. Good evening to James Nunn's wife. I've totally messed you up, by the way, because I've changed the order of these segments.
Oh, okay. I've played it well.
Just for a bit of fun. So we're actually going to do Kingmaker's quote first. So cue up the music for this. You haven't seen this, by the way.
I haven't had a quote. I've lost the
no. So you can just ad-lib this live. Here we go.
What a great day for democracy. Anonymous former league member. Are you sure about the Schluter? Is that who we're referencing here?
It's anonymous. Could be anyone.
Very nice. You made the font work and everything.
I know. What a guru. All right, now we have.
Did you spring for some font packs? Extra money or something?
No, actually, I got actual help. Installed. All right. You guys weren't going to go through a whole year of me doing this segment without a rant about the worst team in professional sports, the wretched Chicago Bears. So here we go. They are on trial, and what a stretch of 2 games for this absolutely disgusting franchise, right? So last week, game against the Commanders who have been, up and about, but Chicago kind of hang in there with them. Chicago has a good defense, I will say. But just a couple of just emblematically fucking boneheaded plays from this horrifically coached team, including the, gotta have it 3rd and goal from the 1 or whatever it was, where they dial up the trick play where they hand it off to the 3rd string offensive lineman, and of course he immediately fumbles it. And that's the end of that. Followed later in the game by, of course, the infamous Hail Mary, where Jaden Daniels is running around for about half an hour before launching it a quarter mile into the fucking end zone, and the just absolutely awfully coached Chicago Bears do the one thing that you can't do in the Hail Mary, where they just leave the dude unguarded in the end zone while everyone else goes up for the big specky. The guy that was meant to be guarding him was on the other side of the field, taunting the Commanders fans. Just another humiliation to pile upon this absolutely cursed franchise. So then bring it forward to this week. They go and get absolutely curb stomped by the, let's face it, pretty mediocre Arizona Cardinals. They just get completely blown out. Some really great highlights from this game as well for the poor suffering fan base, including they try the they try the trick onside recovery from the safety punt, but the Cardinals special teams are well coached enough to know that all you have to do is call for a fair catch and the other team can't recover it. So there's a fantastic highlight you can find of all 11 players on the field for the Cardinals calling for the fair catch at once and then just walking off and laughing at
do you have to declare the onside kick now before you do it?
Yeah. So this just adds to the complete idiocy of this Chicago Bears coaching staff, who I can't believe are still employed. And then, once again, at the pivotal moment of the game where Caleb Williams is scrambling around trying to complete a pass on a 4th and a million. It's games on the line. And he's bought a bunch of time, and literally before he even throws the ball, like DJ Moore has just walked off to the sideline. This is another great highlight you can find. He's just walked to the bench and sat down. He has quit on the team. He's gone, man, I could be catching passes from fucking like Bryce Young in Carolina, and somehow this is worse. This is the worst professional sports team in the world and has been for over 100 years. Fuck the Chicago Bears.
Over 100 years, or 1985 doesn't count?
I can't remember what happened in 1985, mate.
They won the Super Bowl.
I don't remember that. So I feel really bad for their like genuine, authentic fans. I have no sympathy for people who inexplicably jumped on like the Chicago Bears hype train as a modern fan of football, not naming any names, but like James, if you want to pick another team, I will allow you a mulligan. We won't give you any grief if you decide to like just quietly change horses midstream and support a less humiliating team. It'll be fine.
That's more of a Johnny Smuggo thing to do. He changes teams like he changes his underwear. Though I think he has finally settled on the Browns, at least for a moment.
There's another bad choice. We'll get into that later.
I don't think James ever got on any sort of bandwagon. It's not like in recent history the Bears have ever been good. You can't pick a team that's good. You can't like start following NFL and go, oh, I'm going to follow the Chiefs. That's just not acceptable. That's
true, but there's probably a middle ground between picking the Chiefs and picking the Chicago Bears, and I feel like I'll make some suggestions, like go the Bengals, go the Steelers, go the Detroit Lions. I mean, they were crap a few years ago. Imagine if he picked the Lions, how good would he look now if he's riding high?
The Lions one would be the most fun. I've been supporting the Dolphins for over a decade, and that's just brought me nothing but misery. You can't say much different. Or Tex.
Hang on, me?
Or Spoon.
Come on, mate. Green Bay have been consistently successful.
When was the Super Bowl? Was over a decade ago, wasn't it?
We don't win Super Bowls, mate, but we make the playoffs a lot.
Who cares? Who cares who made the playoffs? It's about winning a Super Bowl. Jono's 49ers, they just lose Super Bowls. No one supports a good team.
Can win the Super Bowl. All right, this is over. Bam. All right, what's next?
Can I say though, the reason why they're not any good, like any of our teams are any good, is this league is cursed. There is not a single team that's ever, won the Super Bowl. There's a couple of lost Super Bowls, and just otherwise just a bunch of shit teams that are supported by the members of this league.
All right, well, this will be a great opportunity for James to break this tradition and go and support the Detroit Lions. They're in my division. I'll allow it. Like, whatever. I like the Lions. They're a fun team. All right, let's move.
They'll turn to shit. We are cursed men.
All right. Here we go. I didn't have I couldn't do any advanced Photoshop work for this week, so you just get these schmucks. All right, so our winner for this week, this fucking guy, how could we not? He just keeps on doing it. Chris, week after week, he plugs in fucking random DeAndre Hopkins on frankly what should have been a hellish bye week for Johnny Underdog. He's got like 5 starters on bye, doesn't matter. Like whatever, just keeps on pumping in the points. Really starting to be an unpleasant experience being in the league with this team this year. Your thoughts?
I think that no one else, he shouldn't have been able to get Hopkins. I was super keen to get Hopkins, but to be honest, he was just on the money. We talked about this. He just got him for free when the news was announced. He was just on the ball. He's not resting on his laurels. 2 of my traded players to him coming in good. Look, Mixon's been amazing since he's come back. He's clearly won the trade, even though Hill did nothing because Singletary's gone back to the dumpster fire, and Diggs, unfortunately, is now out for the season like every other wide receiver I managed to pick up or acquire or draft. And look, he's had to drop Richardson, but no matter what went with that trade, getting Mixon out of it has been an incredible outcome. Mahomes is doing well for me, actually. But I think the trade's worked out. He is starting Caleb Williams, the aforementioned Caleb Williams, which is amazing. Zach, the poster child of the text drop that wasn't Mark Andrews of Zay Flowers, looking big. Yeah,
can we bring in text for some live commentary on Zay Flowers' 27-point performance?
Carter wants to change the team he supports from the Browns to Kansas City. I don't think we're allowing that, right?
I'm not allowing that. But yeah, look, I did say that history was against Johnny Fantasy as the early season juggernaut. Hasn't happened just yet. The tide has not yet turned, but we will see. But yeah, this is looking pretty scary for the playoffs. It has to be said.
And look, he wins. Kingmaker, boom.
I'm not allowing that either.
Kingmaker.
All right, our loser for this week.
The wheels are falling off here.
The wheels are falling off for Tyson and his Uncle Rico moustache. Once again, the aforementioned Kyler Murray, who somehow scored 4 fantasy points in a game where his team won by like 25. I'm not sure how that works. Certainly, he wasn't called upon to do very much. Yeah, but not a lot to write home. But AJ Brown left the game early injured. That injury doesn't so far seem too bad, but obviously that's a bit of a kick in the dick. Really, really rough week for a team that is it's on a bit of a slide. Like he's 10-8 and he's just kind of hovering around mid-table, but there's not a lot to feel great about here.
What's the thinking of starting the Denver Broncos against Baltimore? You think you might have streamed a defense there?
Yeah, I mean, in his defense, the Denver Broncos, I'm pretty sure, have been like the number 1 or 2 ranked fantasy defense so far.
Sure, but even still, I wouldn't start them against an offense like that.
No, that doesn't feel great. I'm sure he would have considered it, right? He's not a guy to not think things through, and he would have gone, well, they've found ways to put up points, but obviously this wasn't one of the like 1 sack and 1 forced fumble, offset by 41 points allowed. Like they just got run all over by Derrick Henry, which has been happening to a lot of opponents. So yeah, not a lot to write home about there for Too Good Tyson, aka Uncle Rico.
An extra sad moment for Tyson with this week, because we didn't do the last 2 weeks with the mid-season ranks. He had actually won the belt 2 weeks ago. He'd won it off Jono, and that's the first time he's ever held the belt. It only moves him up to 14th in the all-time belt rankings because he was down there with the Slutier, who had never won the belt as well, believe it or not. But now he's equal 13th with Gibbles with 1 belt reign, 1 week held, and even Jimmy W managed to get 2 weeks out of his only reign. So poor old Tyson has lost the belt after 1 week, but it was his first week, and maybe in the future he'll get it again.
Gibbles 1 week that he held it would have been the first week of the belt.
That's right. Immediately
lost and never saw it again. All right, well, Tyson wouldn't have physically seen the belt because, as we've covered off previously, it remains in the grasp of Father Tex, who passed it.
Though I must say, and Tex is saying that it's not on him, that he has offered to deliver it to aforementioned belt winners, and they're not available for pickup. Get your shit together. Maybe the current holder will be interested in collecting it. It's about the only silverware he'll ever collect in his life, so maybe he's keen on getting this one.
All right. What's next? Comments. Do you have music for this?
Yes, I have music for everything.
Good on you. Let's hit it, DJ. Through 2 weeks worth of comments, and I've struggled to find a lot.
It's been a slow couple. I think those that are not performing, myself included, are slowly checking out of the hotel.
Yeah. I dredged up a few here. A rare comment from Too Good Tyson, who did. I think he was actually responding to my accusation that his like $70 bid or whatever was a typo, which he now seems to confirm that it was. Hilarious typo.
Do we accept this typo narrative? Sounds like fake news to me.
I do actually, because like there's no other explanation for bidding that much money. But yeah, he's fired back with like a pretty fair stray back at the bar there, in relation to putting up 140 even with only 1 quarterback, which is more than I've scored all year, which is no longer accurate, but still a pretty fair cop. And I've come back down to earth this week with another shitty performance from my team. I don't know. I like this one. Kurt asking Factor in the lead up to the Smug Bowl who he's playing at quarterback, and me telling Factor you don't have to answer that. It would have been funnier if he had like fed him a bunch of bullshit and played some Bill Belichick style mind games. I thought.
For the record, who won the Smug Bowl? Let's keep that official. Who won it?
Well, we just covered off Johnny Fantasy and his
this was this week.
150
Yeah,
points. Yeah, Kurt didn't embarrass himself. He scored like 120, I think. But just another corpse under the steamroller for Carter Factor this year, unfortunately.
Kurt's probably the one guy that can stop him, and he's getting steamrolled. So.
Yeah, I quite like the sequence about the Jets. This was back in that hot minute when it looked like Jameis was going to come in and save the Browns with the power of God behind him. It kind of fell back down to earth a little bit, but I never missed an opportunity to put the boot into Aaron Rodgers, who, like, Aaron Rodgers should go and play for the Chicago Bears. I think that would be a fitting end to his career.
You like Rodgers when he was at Green Bay?
I liked him as a player. I've come to like him a lot less as a person.
Do you feel betrayed by him leaving, or
no? His time was up.
Okay.
Yeah. And top comment. Thank you, Tex. James Nunn's wife enjoying the show is psychopathic behavior.
Did anyone else's wives watch the program?
I have not heard, and I'd be surprised. But shout out to
she's probably of all the wives, and I can't speak for your wife who was wearing a Green Bay jersey at the draft. She's quite into NFL. She watches the Chicago games with James. They're both supporters, so she might be the most into NFL of any of the wives.
I bet she really loved that Chicago Bears part earlier.
Yeah. I don't know. Does your wife watch the games?
Not actively, nah.
Yeah. So she might be the most NFL into NFL of all the wives. That's probably why she likes the show the most.
Okay. Well, I'm speaking now to you, Mrs. Coyne. Like, get off the Chicago Bears thing. They are a cursed franchise. I will DM me and I'll send you a list of like 20 teams that you'd be happier supporting. All right. What do we have next?
Is it Fab?
Oh, it is Fab. Yeah. As is tradition, as the season goes along, the Fab spending does become a little bit sparse. So I've actually only got 2 interesting ones in the last couple of weeks to call out.
Carter here, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. So I've got two transactions here from the last 2 weeks. Just a contrast.
You're not putting them all up? Just ones of note?
Nah, well, there's very little to discuss. I only put up these 2 quarterback transactions. So this was from last week. Now, nobody's getting excited about having Joe Flacco on their fantasy team, but as the season goes on, most people feel like they need to have a third quarterback to withstand bye weeks and everything else. So obviously he attracted a pretty hot bidding war when he was announced as the starter. He got the shit kicked out of him by Minnesota, but they've got a really good defense, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. But I'm not excited to have Flacco on the roster by any means, but it does feel good when you kind of nail the market and you come in just above the bids below you. Not bad.
Yeah.
Quite in contrast, you've got Stu, who he is the Dak Prescott owner, so he obviously feels pretty strongly about having this.
He has one quarterback, obviously, because he hasn't dropped one for the maneuver.
Yeah, there's this backup plan, but he has somewhat misjudged the market's interest in Cooper Rush, who best case scenario might be the starting quarterback for a bad Dallas team for 2 weeks, and overpaid to the tune of $90 of Fab, which, to be fair, Stu was never going to spend anyway. So what does it matter? It's all fake and made up, but funny nonetheless.
It's a lot of money for him to finally dump in the cash. Garner Minshew got dropped in this waiver thing. You're just as good starting him. Like you got him for free.
Yeah, like
these backups tend to be pretty hit and miss. Like there's no guarantee that any of them are going to be like. Look at Miami's backups this year; they were atrocious. Just because they play on an NFL team doesn't mean they're startable in fantasy. I was actually there's been a lot of shit canning of Bryce Young in the chat the last 2 weeks, and not that I watch Carolina games, but they've got a pretty good run for the back end of the year, and I don't think my mate the Red Rifle's getting back in. So I was quite happy to snap up Bryce Young for nothing. I'm not saying that you did the wrong thing by dropping him, but I'm surprised there was not I don't know if it was all the shit canning of his height going on in the chat or whatever was happening, but he's perfectly fine as a third backup.
I mean, he's when early part of the season he was pretty atrocious, but he's had a few weeks in the doghouse to think about his actions, and he's come back out. He's got no receivers left. They've traded away their only serviceable receiver, and so he's just out there throwing to dudes that they pulled in from the car park half an hour before the game, and living his best life, beating the Saints. Got the Saints coach fired.
There you go. And he's got quite an easy run, and I think Thielen will come back. So these are moves I'm making for the back end of the year for myself, just to try and avoid that Ringo. So I'm quite keen to pick him up.
Yeah. All right. Only one more segment. Do you have a thing for this week, Chris?
No, I don't. But before we get to that, I want to talk about because you're not doing a belt matchup, and that's fine. I'll just start the music. The belt matchup is Stu versus somebody, but I wanted to talk about Stu having the belt because he's got the most interesting belt stats of probably anyone in the league. He's actually had it. This is his 5th time that he's had the belt. He's had it in multiple years. It's been a while since he had it. The last time he had it before this was in what year is that? If I check in 2018, but he's only ever held it once. He's never successfully defended the belt. It's been 4 times of 1 week per occasion. So it'll be interesting to see. Someone in the chat said he's got a big game this week. Can he hold on to the belt for more than 1 week?
Well, if he does, it's going to be one of the biggest upsets of the year because he is playing the aforementioned steamroller. So let's go.
Well, I hope so. My dreams are to avoid the Ringo, and my dreams are for the belt to fall into the bottom bracket so we have something additional to play for. And it's not going to happen if Johnny Smug picks it up going into the end of the year.
Yeah, you're right. If he gets it this week, it's he's probably going to hold on to it. Look, it's going to be tough. Johnny Smug just came off a pretty rough bye week. He's got everybody back this week, so the full bench of his ridiculously deep roster to pick and choose from. Whereas Stu will presumably be starting Cooper Rush, alongside such luminaries as Jalen Warren, Devon Achane.
And A-Chain was great this week. A-Chain was great this week. Good, 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns or something. He's good with Tua.
He's also got Deontay Johnson in his first game for the Ravens, so we'll see how that goes.
That's a bold play. God knows how that's going to go.
Yeah. I think if I was a bookmaker, I'd be putting some pretty long odds on Stu breaking the drought of belt defenses, but any given Sunday, mate, anything can happen.
I've also another silverware matchup. I've got the Justice Bowl this week against the Coin, which I famously won every year for about 8 years in a row until he beat me last year somehow. I didn't lose many games last year, but I lost one to him. I basically don't have a wide receiver that I can start. I just had to pick up Shepard. What's this guy's first name? something Shepherd from Sterling Shepherd. I thought it might have been Sterling Shepherd from Tampa Bay. That's the best thing I've got going at wide receiver 1. That's how dire the situation is. And a hope and a prayer that either Juju Smith-Schuster or the ghost of Adam Thielen can start this week.
All the best. I feel like this might be. I feel like the Justice Board might be heading over to the Nunn household. They can put it up on their TV prior to places they watch the live stream on a Wednesday night.
That's right. He's actually already got the Justice Board. He won it for the first time last year, and I think he.
I hope it's on prominent display in the household, not just like packed away in the cupboard somewhere.
No, it's in his like man cave garage. It's there.
Yeah, as it should be.
Okay, so if we bring back up the slides, have we lost them?
You said that there was nothing else to do. That was it.
I was going to play the song anyway. Okay, I've got the song for this week. The Ruthless Aggression song. So last 2 weeks ago, we had yours, and to much success, you had the Metal Lingus, which was great. The Stu love continues. I've decided to go with Stu's song this week. Now, you might think I will go with Big Papa Pump, the wrestler Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner's song, but that's basically an annoying siren for about 5 minutes and no lyrics. So it doesn't really sort the purpose of what we're achieving here. It's about the lyrics and the sort of way they play or the person they are in the league. This is what I've got for Stu.
There's a little pile of ashes where my old life used to be. Credit cards and memories all dumped into the sea. Well, this ain't no time for bull as I fly into the sun. Well, you can't trust anybody if you can't trust number one. Well, the man tells me my future is not so far away. To get ready for tomorrow, I gotta waste my whole day. My inner light knows better, it's what I wanna hear. Just like a diamond bullet, but it's crystal clear. Oh yeah! Woo! I can slap a tornado, I can dry up a sea, yeah. When I live for the moment, there ain't no in me. You'll find your pleasure if you worry about your pain, and your precious little details are stretching out my brain. Well, you spin around and bite your nails. Now let me tell you, son, that you can't trust anybody if you can't trust number one. Well, a man tells me my future is not so far away. To get ready for tomorrow, I gotta waste my whole.
It goes on like that. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest that the narrative of the lyrics was a little bit hard to follow, but there was definitely some themes of like, backing yourself and trusting your instinct, which he's certainly been known to do with some of his more unhinged draft choices.
That's exactly right. He doesn't care about your rules or your procedures. He's just going to back himself because you can't trust anybody if you can't trust number one. And then it's got this nonsense about like slapping a tornado.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Isn't drafting 3 quarterbacks like trying to slap a tornado? Like, isn't that his behavior?
Yeah.
He feels the stretch narrative, but I think it's there.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stu doesn't know how to watch this show. So.
To be honest, I was actually going to have a different song for him, but I decided it was too not nice for such a lovely guy. Vince McMahon famously has a song which is like "No Chance in Hell," and it's like "You've got no chance in hell." And I thought I could do that, but just change the "You've got" to "Stu's got no chance in hell." That would just be. Generally, I think that was too mean.
There was a time in the league a few seasons ago where he was actually pretty consistently successful, but last couple of years, mate, it's gone off the rails.
It's been a bit of an up, like, because he did crazy things like, pick Jimmy Graham with his first ever pick and things like that. But then it's gone up, and then and now it's deteriorated. I feel he's less engaged. I think it's as the leagues become more techno focused, we changed to a phone-based app. We moved away from the desktop browser. We moved to a video chat, broadcast into YouTube. He's just not able to keep up with the tech.
I think he would actually prefer we go in the other direction and like mail in your roster every week to the commissioner.
Yeah, to
Whack a
do the
postage stamp on
it. Very nice. All right, well, that's the coverage of this week. Thank you, Ballard, for doing the slides this week. Very much appreciated, and for somehow maintaining my fonts. Very special. We'll be back next week. Until then, we will see you then.